Howdy. I'm on the river filming a video, just finishing up, but I thought I would just make a short video on 6 tips on how to find more gold. Usually when I'm out throughout the year, I try to give tips here and there of stuff I've learned. I don't know how much I'm going to get on the rivers this summer, so I figured I'd just put together in one video to help you guys out. A lot of this is stuff I've learned over the years, but I also have a unique aspect now because I use that stuff to help design equipment to get gold. But in doing so, I actually learned some new tricks that I actually look for now on the rivers. So I will try to, I don't have any animation software, so I will try to explain the tips, and then hopefully I can edit in some pictures or whatever to help clarify it. But they're very simple tips. If you look for these, it'll help you improve your chances on getting more gold. Mostly in the Northeast, but these may apply in other areas too. So let's start. All right, tip 1. We all know to look for an inside bend, which I am here. Like I said, I'm filming a video I just finished up. But one thing that I've learned, if you have a river that's zigzagging all the way down, that gives you multiple inside bends, which means that gold is going to settle over multiple bends. So when you pick one to dig in, you're going to have less gold, if that makes sense. So one thing I love doing, I'm sure this doesn't always show up great on camera, but there is a straightaway here of probably 1,000 feet. So here's the biggest tip I do. I look on maps, Google Maps, whatever. I try to find the straightaway, and then I hit the first inside bend. So during the flood, that's picking up all that material and going crazy, and then it gets deposited heavily on the first inside bend, which is why there's gold here. But I've dug all around here and barely found any other pieces. And the funny thing is, after this inside bend, you get a little one there, but this one picked up all the gold, but then it straightens back out and then curves over that way. And that's another spot I get the gold, because again, this is a straightaway, and then it's going to curve right, and then that's the first inside bend on the right. So you want to look for that first inside bend on the longest straightaway. Like I mentioned, I'm on the inside bend on a long straightaway, and this is one thing I've learned through developing my gold box with all different pressures and stuff like that. What you want to look for, the inside bend starts around here, right? It's going to be hard to see here, but see how tight the river is right here? And then all of a sudden it starts opening up here, right where that tree is. And then it starts opening more up here. That creates a low pressure zone. So the pressure was high coming through here. Inside bend creates the low pressure. That's why they always say to dig on an inside bend. But then to amplify that, it just widens up here, and it actually becomes wider as you come toward me. Like I said, it may not show up as good on here, but by doing that, that means you just created the inside bend creates a low pressure zone, and now this wider part right here just creates a bigger, lower pressure zone. And there is gold all the way up, deposited all the way on this corner. But as I work more up here, the gold gets more and bigger. So again, look for first inside bend on a long straightaway, find the widest point. All right, tip 3. I don't really have a spot like this, and this doesn't happen often. But as I mentioned, the wide spot on the first inside bend on tip 2, if you have a long straightaway here, and for whatever reason, there's maybe some material eroded the bank out of here and maybe over there, so you get a nice tight constriction of flooding coming, and then it opened up quick for whatever reason. Like I said, if there's it eroded more in one spot, that creates a low pressure zone where that bulge is, which should be just enough to settle the gold. So like I said, I don't find this often in the rivers, but when I do see it on a straightaway, any feature that widens a little you want to check in there. It'll actually also create a little vortex happening on those wide bulges. So that is tip 3. Tip 4 is look for obstructions that will create resistance during a flood. Because this area opened up, it started dropping big rocks. So these rocks now, when it floods, create back pressure. Back pressure slows this area down, which drops out the gold. Or if the river is going to a bank and then tries to go hard left, pushing against that bank, it can't move much, so it just created a low pressure zone, so the gold drops out. I'll have to try to find a better spot to show that, but you want to look for obstructions. And just to show that the reason I'm here doing videos and stuff, this spot, other than the bulge happening on the straightaway, is a perfect storm. Straightaway, first inside bend, widen in part, which dropped out rocks, so I got resistance. And just to show you that I'm not talking out of my ass, I keep getting gold here all the time, as you can see. And it keeps coming back. Every year when it floods, it refills in the spot I just dug. Because I've already hit this spot hard, and it's going to keep bringing gold down here for decades. So the next tip, I will have to move to another spot, and I'll show you then. Alright, tip number 5, new location. This is more for people in the northern part of the U.S., or the northeast, where I am too. This is looking for glacier tills or glacier Miranda. 10,000, was it 15,000, 20,000 years ago, we had the ice age that put all the material, or pushed all the material down from Canada. A lot of that material had gold. So if you find a berm of sand, it's most likely it's going to have gold-bearing material. Now, what makes this more of a Miranda or a glacier till area is if this was a slide off the mountain, like a erosion, the rocks would be all jagged. Look at how smooth the rocks are. We got big boulders pushed way up top of the pile. They're all smooth from being tumbled for miles from the glaciers. So every time it rains and floods out, that gets pushed into the stream. And then the river becomes the natural sluice. So using the other tips, you can find the spots where the gold's going to settle. And one little tip, I've given this before. I usually it's not always a guarantee, but because of the glaciers, I've usually found more gold on the northern side of mountains, the northern, east, and west side, but not as much on the south, which makes sense. If the glacier's pushing the material down south, and it's going to hit the north side of a mountain first. And you can't see it, but over here is a 5,000 foot mountain. So I wish I had the animation, but to show it, imagine my hand is the glacier or a bulldozer blade. As it's pushing material, when it hits a resistance, let's say this rock is a mountain, it's going to get stopped here, and the material is going to either have to go around the sides, or it may start to lift up, which causes all the material to drop out. And this is where you get this. There's a few of these in this area because of that effect. So all that gold-bearing pay dirt has dropped out in these big hills that just over decades, hundreds of years, just erode out. And then the water falls into the gold falls right into the river and goes downstream where you can get it. Alright, bonus tip number 6. This is actually kind of more like a bonus than a tip, but one thing I like to do, and you got to be careful doing this, and this actually applies everywhere, pretty much everywhere in the world. Whatever area you're going to go to, try to go toward it or check it out during a flood. Safely, you know, obviously don't get in there and stuff like that. Try to take pictures and try to videotape that area during the flood. And you will see stuff that you just won't see during the summer. Like right here is a flood zone. The main water is coming over here. Water comes rushing over here during the flood. You look at it now, it all looks the same. So where would you dig? You're just guessing. But imagine this area is dry and now this is a flood. You see how water curls around here, goes over here. You start seeing all the little low pressure points, high pressure points. I mean, you got white water here, a little less over here. But during, when it's dry like this, you're not gonna see that. So again, do it safely. But try to record, take pictures. Videos are better. And then save onto that information. And then when the water recedes and it starts drying out, play it back exactly where you're gonna dig. And now you'll see in real time where those vortexes were, where those low pressure points happened, and where the gold is probably dropping out. It's actually surprised me a few times. Areas I thought I really knew where the gold was going, and then when I went back, I saw stuff that I would have never guessed. And sure enough, when I dug there was gold. So just that'll be the last tip. And actually, I'm gonna give one bonus tip, which is funny because it was here I discovered this. Everyone knows, or everyone tries to dig behind a big rock, right? The big rock acts like a riffle. I believe it's been a few years since I dug here. So I can't remember, I think it was this rock here. So I came here, I dug all around here, didn't find anything. But because this rock is so big, I envision that if gold's coming down here and it gets pinned here, it won't have enough energy to come up or over or to the sides, especially if it's got a flatter backside than this. And then when I dug down there, I got a nice picker right in front of the rock. So again, that's just a little bonus. Everyone goes behind the rock, but if you get a really big rock in the river, try digging in front. If it's got a nice wide flat surface, just imagine that gold getting pinned on that rock until it recedes and then it drops straight down. So just a little bonus tip. And again, I see a lot of people digging right behind the rock. You could imagine if that gold's going over or around, it's going to take a while for it to drop out. So most likely it's a couple feet beyond the rock is where the gold would be. Not unless there's a vortex sucking it back in, but usually it's not right behind the rock. It's a few feet in front. So again, this was kind of crude, last minute thought. I'll probably redo this again, this topic again. Maybe with more actual scenarios, maybe animation. But let me know what you think. You can put your comments, your ideas down in the comment section, or little tips that you've learned over the years. But these are the main 6 that I learned from just time on the river, but more importantly, developing gold prospecting equipment. I learned a lot doing that gold box. I was pretty impressed with. It was frustrating, but I also learned a lot from that. And then when I started applying those philosophies to the rivers, my gold yield started increasing. So like I said, I may redo this, but it's just a quick little tip video. Nice weather's here, people are getting out. I figured I'd just throw it together, and hopefully it pays off, and you'll find some more gold. So I will see you on the next videos, and you'll see me get the gold that using all those tips. See ya.